In this lesson, we're going to talk about multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. By the end, you should be able to find the product of a polynomial and a monomial and solve equations that involve polynomials. There are different methods when it comes to multiplying polynomials. The three that we're going to look at are the horizontal, the vertical, and the box methods. Important things to note that in all three methods, when you're multiplying, you multiply the coefficients and then you add the exponents on the variables, remembering our rules for exponents. The horizontal method is using the distributive property. So the number that's outside of parentheses is going to get distributed to both terms on the inside. So here we have 2t squared times the sum of 3t and 6. You multiply the coefficients for 2t squared and 3t to give you 6. And you add the exponents on the t's to give you t cubed. And then the same would be true for the 6. In the vertical method, you line up the numbers vertically just like you would two-digit numbers, and then you multiply likewise. So you would multiply 2t squared times 6, bring that down, 2t squared times 3t, and you would bring that down. And then the last method would be called the box method. And in the box method, you split up your numbers in a box, in a grid. So you put 2 of the monomials on the top, 2 of the monomials from the second polynomial on the bottom, or the 1, and then you multiply respectively, and then you combine your answer at the end. So you would have x squared plus 7x plus 12. So you combine them at the end. Alright, let's look at a couple of examples. So this first example, we have negative 3y times 5y plus 2. If we were going to multiply this vertically or horizontally, we would use the distributive property. And so we would do negative 3y times 5y first. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. And y times y is y squared. And then we would do negative 3y plus 2, which would give us negative 6y. If we were going to multiply this vertically, we would first do negative 3y times 2, which would give us negative 6y. And then negative 3y times 5y, which would give us negative 15y squared. Or you could use the box method, okay, where we would still do negative 3y times 5y, which would give negative 15y squared. And negative 3y times 2y, which would give you minus 6y. And then you combine your answer at the end. Important to note that you can line up the box method vertically or horizontally. Either way, you're going to end up with the same answer. So get another example. So number 2. We have t times the difference of 5t and 9 minus 2t. Okay, if we were going to solve this horizontally, again, we would distribute here. So we would distribute the t to both of the terms inside the parentheses. So t times 5t would be 5t squared minus 9t. And then minus 2t. And then we would combine like terms at the end. So 9t, negative 9t minus 2t gives you negative 11t. So the answer here would be 5t squared minus 11t. If we were going to use the vertical method, again, you do the same thing. So t times 9 would be 9t. T times 5t would be 5t squared. And then you combine your left terms to give you 5t squared minus 11t. If you're using the box method, same principle applies. T times 5t is 5t squared minus 9t. And then you can combine your like terms at the end. So 5t squared minus 11t. And again, you can do the same thing by lining it up vertically. In this next example, we have 6y being multiplied to the trinomial of 4y squared minus 9y minus 7. Again, we can solve this 3 different ways. We can do it horizontally using the distributive property. Again, remembering that we're multiplying the coefficients and adding the exponents. So we have 6 times 4, which is 24. Y times y squared, which is y cubed. 6 times 9, which is minus 54. Y times y, which is y squared. And then 6y minus 7, which is negative 42y. If we were lining it up vertically, we would do the same thing. So make sure that it's aligned vertically. The larger factors on top. And then you multiply. So 6y times negative 7 is negative 42y. 6y times negative 9 is negative 54y squared. And 6y times 4y squared is 24y cubed. Box method is the same thing, it's just another way of organizing your work. So you'll still end up with 6 times 4, which is 24y cubed. 6 times 9, which is negative 54y squared. And 6 times 7, which is negative 42y. And then if you need to combine like terms, you combine like terms. Otherwise, you just bring it down. And here we have one more example, which is finalizing or simplifying this polynomial. So we're going to multiply. We can multiply this one a couple of different ways. You can use the box method here, but it's not necessary to say the least. So we have 5a cubed b, and we're multiplying into everything on the inside. So again, we're multiplying the coefficients. So 5 and 2 is negative 10. If there is no variable with the a, you just bring down the a cubed. There is a variable that matches with b, so b squared would be what we would have here. Then we have 5 times positive 5, which is minus 25, a to the 4th power, and b squared. And then we have plus 5, because this would be a 1 in front, so negative times negative is positive. There is no term for the a, so a cubed we bring down, and b times b squared is b cubed. And then we have 5a cubed b multiplied here. Again, this would be like a 1, so I have minus 5. A to the 6th power, and there is no term with the b. If you were going to line this up vertically, it would be the same kind of principle taking place. So you multiply it here, you have 5, a to the 6th, b, plus 5, a cubed, b cubed, minus 25, a to the 4th, b squared, and negative 10 a cubed b squared. And then you have it lined up. So one of them is just going from, is multiplying from left to right, and the other one's multiplying from right to left. This last one is solving an equation. We've practiced with solving equations, but when we start factoring in a few days, it's going to be helpful to make sure that we remember how to solve equations. So, solving this equation, the goal is to get the variable by itself, and in order to do that, we need to get it to the same side. And before we can get it to the same side, we need to make sure that both of the sides of the equation are in simplest form. So we're going to distribute here. So negative 2w minus 2 plus w equals 7 minus 4w. Combining like terms, this will give you negative w minus 2 equals 7 minus 4w. I would move the smaller of the 2, so that would be the 4w. To get 3w minus 2 equals 7. Add 2 on both sides. 3w equals 9, and w equals 3. And that would be the equation. And this is how we multiply polynomials by 1.